Good evening, everyone. Buenas noches. We have interpretation out front. We'd love to give you one of our interpretation devices. Si necesitan un aparato de interpretación, con toda confianza, por favor, agarren uno. My name is Juan Benitez. I am your vice president of your school board, and it's a great privilege and honor for me to be here tonight on a very important process that our district is utilizing to select and inform the selection of our next superintendent. So I want to thank all of you that came out this evening. We know a lot of stuff is going on in our community, including elections. This will be posted. It's streaming live now. It will be posted. So for those folks that you know that weren't able to make it out tonight, they still have an opportunity to participate and give us their recommendations and input for the selection of our superintendent. But it's my pleasure to give you the formal welcome tonight. We have a pretty robust agenda, so I'm going to keep my comments brief and allow for you all to have this time in our selection. So let me talk a little bit about my role as a school board member. We basically have three major responsibilities. Pásenle, pásenle. The first is that we oversee our district budget. So for each school year, it's the board that approves and makes recommendations for the budget. And we're talking about close to $1 billion budget. We are the largest employer in the city, and we have 72,000 students to show for it. One of the other responsibilities that we have as a board is we enact policy, right? So last February, for example, we passed an inclusion policy resolution in our district. So from time to time, if we need to change policy, create new policy, that we'll do that as a board. And then the last area of responsibility, and they're not in order of priorities, but it's three major responsibilities, that we hire, we supervise, and we evaluate our superintendent. So we do the same for our current superintendent, Mr. Steinhauser. And so that's it in a nutshell. It's not to trivialize those three areas of responsibility, but they're extremely important. So this is the first time in a long time that our board will select the new superintendent. And that's why it's so important to hear from our community members, our community stakeholders, so that they can provide, you can provide input into that selection process, which ultimately we as a board, the 5 members, will make. And so again, I want to highlight the importance. We have 2 more forums remaining. One this upcoming Thursday at Prisk Elementary School, and all of this information is available on our website under the menu superintendent search, the A through Z index. And then we have one more forum on the 14th at Cabrillo High School. So again, want to encourage anyone that's able to come out and give us your thoughts on our selection process. So the other thing I wanted to share is the importance of having the right person for the job. We've had this superintendent for about 17 years, and we've been able to, as a district, remain very fiscally healthy. And we know that because of our budget constraints and the national budget environment, that we may have to make tough choices. So it's very important for us to be fiscally healthy as a district. So I want to thank our district staff, our superintendent, all the work that goes in to make sure that we have a healthy, vibrant budget so that we can provide the resources needed to support our students, our teachers, our staff, and of course our families in the district. So I want to make sure and highlight the importance of having a fiscally sound, fiscally healthy budget. What that also allows for us to do is think innovatively, think creatively around collaboration. How do we best support each other, our district staff, our school site administrators? We have the principal, Mr. Navia, here at Renaissance High School. Thank you for hosting us tonight. So it's truly the ability to be effective in collaboration and make sure that our resources, that our gifts, our talents, the best thing in our district gets back to our students and our families who we serve. So when we use terms like all means all and every student matters, this is one way to assure that that happens, right? It's how we're going to implement this vision that we have, and really the day-to-day operations fall, a big part of them, on the responsibility of a superintendent. So again, I'm emphasizing how important this is, and that it has multiple effects at the school site levels as well. The second thing that I want to share a few comments on is our priority is to really focus on the success of every single student. every single student. And I want to use a capital for every single student. What does that mean? That means that we support in a holistic approach, that when we talk about things like equity, when we talk about things like inclusion, when we attempt to address issues like our opportunity and equity and achievement gaps, that it takes everyone, including our families and community members, to make sure that we get the most out of students, right? And the way that we get the most out of students is to provide the resources that are necessary, provide the curriculum that's necessary, provide the instructions that's necessary, the professional development, and the collaboration across our district in an equitable and effective way. So again, your commitment here tonight in providing us the input that we need as school board members to make a selection highlights the fact that really everyone in our community, every one of our 72,000 students, every one of our school sites benefit from engaging with our community and supporting our students, our teachers, our staff in our district with the resources, the tools that we need to make sure that every student's successful. So with that, that's the purpose really of tonight's forum. It's to hear from you, the community members, and that could be virtually. Send us an email, leave us a voicemail. But really, the input that we're seeking from you today is we'll provide some prompts for you. Ms. Ruth Ashley will go over the process that we're using tonight. But we want to hear. We want to hear from our community members what qualities, what characteristics, what attributes you think would be helpful to have a superintendent that can address all of our students' needs. And in this case, that's a mighty, mighty big task that we want to ask for your help in figuring out who our next superintendent for Long Beach Unified School District is going to be. With that said, I want to introduce Deputy Superintendent of Education Services, Ms. Ruth Ashley, who's going to facilitate tonight and describe for us the process that we're going to use to get your input. So, Ruth, you want to come up here and start us off? Thank you, everyone, for being here again.
Thank you, Dr. Benitez, for that gracious welcome and overview of the purpose and why we're here tonight. So before we dig into the agenda, I just want to pay tribute to Christopher Steinhauser, because as a superintendent for the past 17, almost 18 years, he has left such a strong legacy. He was one of the first educators that I met as a new teacher here in this district, which was a long time ago, but he has definitely left his thumbprint here, and we just want to pay tribute and give thanks to Chris on that. So if you would take a look at your agenda, we have for you the outcomes, and just as Dr. Benitez said, we want to hear from you on what the qualities are of a superintendent that you're looking for, but we also want to make sure that we create an appreciative environment here for gathering in this fine facility. So again, thank you so much to Renaissance and for you, Mr. Navia. Thank you for having us here. And also to provide an overview of the selection process, we'll do that pretty quickly, to gather your feedback on the desired characteristics. And we're also going to listen for the district's strengths, the areas of improvement, and issues to address or anticipate in the future. We have a couple of staff members who are going to help facilitate that process. We have Ms. Secchi and Ms. Harmon here who will be taking notes. And we have Mr. Rockenbach, who is going to capture those notes. So when it comes time for you to come up to the podium to tell us what your thoughts are, we're here to take those notes and comments down. So let's go ahead and talk about the process and timeline. There are 4 phases to this process. We are currently in phase 2. During phase 1, the Board of Education identified the process and improved the timeline. So not only do they want to encourage people within the system, within the district to apply, we are seeking candidates from outside the district, but also limiting it to the state of California. As I had mentioned, we are in phase 2. We are now in the public outreach and recruitment phase. We have a number of these community forums, as Dr. Benitez said, and our timeline for the recruitment period ends on Friday. Phase 3 is the application screening and interview process. That's from March 9th to the 24th. We have an advisory committee, which I will tell you a little bit more about in just a moment, but they will be engaging in the initial interviews for the candidates that we will recommend to the Board of Education that they interview. So we'll be narrowing down that list of candidates. And then finally, phase 4 is the appointment on May 6th. That's when the board will announce our new superintendent and the transition planning will begin. So again, here's our list. I don't think I have to mention this, so thank you for reviewing it already, Dr. Benitez. I do have to mention that we will be going out to Avalon next week, so I'm looking forward to meeting with that group there. I believe that's on March 12th. You'll be able to see us live stream here, and if you haven't had the opportunity to go online, just go to the district's website and there is a thought exchange. There's an icon there that says thought exchange. It ends on Friday. And that's a great place where you can go, give your thoughts, read the thoughts of others, rate those thoughts, and just see the interaction that's going on. We will then be pulling the topics, the common themes that come out, because they have the essential question as well on the thought exchange, which is, what are the characteristics you are wanting in a new superintendent? And then for any of the materials you're looking for, you can also go onto the district's website. Okay, here we are in phase 3, the advisory committee, where we will be conducting the initial interviews. And there's a list in these next 2 slides, and we will have approximately 24 members on this committee. They represent various stakeholders throughout the district and throughout the city. And I'm just going to take a moment to go ahead and list them here. We have 2 members from ALBUM, our Association of Long Beach Education Managers, one from the Assistants League of Long Beach, 2 board members, and that will be Dr. Felton Williams, our president, and Megan Kerr. We have from the California Conference for Equity and Justice a representative, and Cal State Long Beach will be sending a representative. Californians for Justice has a rep, and we will also be including a student because we obviously do value student voice. So we're looking forward to having that student join us. CSEA has 2 representatives, the Coalition of Involved African American Parents and the District Community Advisory Committee will have a rep. DLAC, District English Learner Advisory Committee, will have a representative. The executive staff will have 2 reps. We have David Zaid, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resource Services, and Yumi Takahashi will be joining us. She is the Chief Business and Financial Officer. The Kamai Parents Association and the Long Beach Council PTA will be there, and AACP will have a representative along with the Pacific Islander Education Voyage. Special Education Community Advisory Committee will have a rep, as well as the Teachers Association of Long Beach. They will have 2 reps from TALB, and the LGBTQ Center Long Beach will have a representative as well. So now, for this portion, I would like for you to look at your handout. You see there a list of governance standards. There are 11 of them there. And I'm going to give you a little bit of time, so I would like for you to take a pen, pencil, highlighter, and circle, underline any words or phrases that resonate with you. And then once you do that, I would like to encourage you to have a conversation with anybody you're sitting next to, because this is going to tee us up for the next conversation where I will be inviting you to come to the microphone and to give your comments publicly. So go ahead and take some quiet time to review those standards, and we'll come back in just a few minutes. There, if you want to take some notes, we will collect the notes that you have, but you can just jot your thoughts down there. So I'll go ahead and give you another minute if you just want to finish up that conversation. Okay, this is going to be a great moment here, I could tell. We already have a volunteer to speak first, so I would like to welcome Hannah up to the podium. Come on up, and we're going to scribe and take notes. So there is no time limit, so while there isn't a time limit, if you see this folder go up that says 5 more minutes, you know that there's a little bit more time left. But just take your time, express yourself, whatever you want to say. So come on up, Hannah.
Hi, I'm Hannah Wells. I'm ASB president at Renaissance. I'm a junior. So I've only met with Mr. Steinhauser a few times. One of the first times I met him was last year at this meeting, and he was talking to a lot of the representatives from high school about a budget that he put together for the students in different high schools. And I remember going to that meeting and I was nervous because I was like, oh, it's the superintendent, you know, it's a big deal, like I want to be respectful. And when I got there, it was like any one of my other like teachers, you know, he was just so like kind and easy to talk to. And so I think that's a really important quality in the next superintendent, like me as a student, to be able to just easily talk to the superintendent and not feel like scared, you know, or nervous. Like that was really comforting and nice to know that also like he's the one kind of like leading us in LBUSD. Another thing on here that I saw mentioned, it said recognizes and respects the differences of perspective and style on the board and among staff, students, parents, and the community, and ensures that the diverse range of views inform board decisions. In LBUSD, you know, it's Long Beach, we're a really diverse community, so I think being aware and listening to all of the very like different opinions in our district is super important. Somebody that understands those opinions and can then make a decision that won't always make everybody happy, but that is an informed one. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Hannah. Anyone else? Come on up. Okay, excellent. So just like Hannah, when you come up to the podium, just introduce yourself. Come on. All
right. Good evening. My name is Hollis Stewart, and I live here in the first district of the city, close to here, and I walked over. And this meeting interests me because I worked in education for almost 20 years in community colleges, and there's several things that I think are very important that I didn't see the word equity mentioned on this description here, even though it was mentioned earlier by Board Member Benitez there, because that is a very important thing to me. Quite often we see that around our country that unfortunately poor districts and or perhaps even districts of what we call color in our society, we're all Homo sapiens, so I'm not too much into that color thing or race thing, but I do recognize that we share 99.999% of our lives, and so therefore equity is important so that every child gets a chance to grow up good. And so I want to make sure that that equity thing is looked at, and that whoever might come in as a superintendent won't be bowled over by areas with more money and tried to push toward giving them more than other areas get. So that's one thing that bothers me. I know that it's very hard in education to have a multilingual situation, but our city is one that is multilingual, and not just as some people think of Keimer and Spanish and English, but there's many other people come here in different ways, or their family may be, and a child is trying to deal with 2 or 3 languages at once. So it's important that whoever it is and however our district operates, that is recognized and everything is done to make sure that children have a chance to really learn well. And I'm not going to talk about too much more because I know I'm going on and on. There is, like it mentions, a distinction between board and staff roles. As a staff person, I was what was called a classified employee. I was head of the union where I worked in 2 different colleges. And therefore, I did, on here, when it mentions the different roles, I would hope that when you look for the superintendent, that we make sure we get somebody in that role who respects classified employees and those kind of employees as much as they do teachers. There's a difference between teachers and the classified, but we all help try to make sure that students get a good education, and that's important. And if everybody works together, we really can succeed in that. But if people feel like they're being undervalued or underappreciated, then in fact they won't do the very best work that they could as well. I mean, if any of you have ever competed in any kind of sports or other kind of things, you know, if you're appreciated, then you really work hard at it. And if you're not, you say, you know. So those are the main things on my mind. Oh, yeah, and one thing about it, I know they're going to be doing this, of having some schools that are open pretty much all year or almost all year. And I'm hoping that Jenny Orpeza School is one of those, because right across the way is a YMCA, I think it's YM, not YWCA, which will also have resources that might be able to be used for our students here in Long Beach and in our area, and for the students at that school. So that's my main thoughts, is, again, to keep up this qualitative thing and keep on going, and make sure that there's respect between everybody working in education and between the community and the district offices and Board of Education. So thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your comments. I just want to remind you that while you come on up, we will be listening for what you perceive are the strengths of the district and also areas for improvement, not just the qualities that you're looking for or the issues to anticipate in the future, but we are listening for those 2 items there. So our next speaker, I welcome you to come up. James, come on up.
Hello, my name is James Marks. I'm a resident of Long Beach, California for over 45 years now. And it's a few issues that I feel. One is you'll have on the paper which says recognize and respects the difference of perspective and style on the board and among staff, students, parents, and the community, and ensures that the diverse range of views inform board decisions. And it's kind of like the gentleman who had recently just spoke, following up on what he said. I think that comes down to an issue of equity, because often, you know, we have, well, in Long Beach, we have over 2 decades of violence that have been been occurring, and a lot of this has been spilling over from out of the community into the school areas, and the children at the schools, they're not feeling safe going and coming to school. And last year we had the outbreak, and me and several other parents, we had to go out there and literally take off our jobs and our other things of importance to ensure the safety of the school. And then when we contacted the principal at Long Beach Poly High, he didn't want to hear us out. He because it was an issue of gang violence where an autistic young man was attacked, And it was just the disconnection between the school and the community, the principal at large more so. And also, you know, I'm a former high school football coach at Long Beach Poly, as well as a mentor, and I still currently mentor several students there. And from what they told me, there's a lack of their voice or their inclusion in the decision-making process in which these decisions and processes are affecting them today and their future, so they don't feel like they're inclusive, as you guys speak of inclusion. And to me, from what I see, it's just business as usual, you know. Their voice is not being heard and their concerns are not being there. And I want to know, how is the checks and balance system in place for when we file a complaint against the principal, or perhaps with the ongoing situation going on at Poly and other schools with the teachers having these alleged cases or whatever pending against students. How are these, what is the checks and balances systems in place, and how does that process go? And as well as I feel that there's a disparaging gap between the community and the school again, you know, and I think, like the gentleman said, that comes down to an equity problem once again. And another one you have on here, understands the distinction between board and staff roles and respects the role of the board and the representative of the community. You said that you had a student on that board that was part of the, exactly. And how is it that you picked that one student to represent when, as the person who was over here previously said that Long Beach is such a diverse community, how is it that you picked that one individual student from a school to voice the opinions and the views of all of the students in the schools? And how is it that we can possibly, and this is something that we brought up as a community last year as well, how can we somehow put together to create a safe passage for the school where we can coordinate with the school district, the school's campus security, and concerned citizens in the community as well, because we weren't heard at all, you know, when it came to that. We were basically out there on our own, and the only way we were ever heard was because Channel 7 and Channel 9 News came out there and publicized it, you know what I mean? So I guess that was the only way we were able to receive any type of attention for these subjects. That's it.
Thank you so much for sharing your comments, and we can easily have a conversation after the session, okay? All right, our next speaker, please.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Mayra García.
Good evening, my name is Mayra Garcia.
Estoy de acuerdo que en las fortalezas que han gastado muy poco en mantenido el presupuesto, el superintendente. Ha gastado
One of
muy
the
poco.
strengths is that the superintendent has spent very little on maintaining his budget.
Las áreas que yo veo que necesitan mejorar es la calidad académica en todas las áreas y capacitar mejor al personal académico.
The areas that I feel that need to improve are better academic quality in all areas, and also to better training for all staff.
En el caso, mi hijo es educación especial y los niños no están siendo incluidos en la comunidad.
In my case, my child is in special ed, and the students aren't being introduced into the community.
Las evaluaciones no son buenas, ni los especialistas están capacitados para trabajar con ellos.
The evaluations are inappropriate, and
Personal académico.
and the academic staff isn't prepared,
Las evaluaciones no son buenas
and the evaluations aren't good,
y los niños no están siendo incluidos en la comunidad.
and the students aren't being included in the community.
Hacer un mejor plan para el bullying,
We need a better plan for against bullying,
porque eso nos está afectando mucho
because that is affecting them a lot.
y no hay forma de arreglarlo. Hay muchos niños que están siendo golpeados día a día.
And there isn't a way to fix it. There's a lot of students that are being hit on a daily basis.
No respetan los derechos de los padres
The parent rights aren't being respected.
y hay mucha discriminación para latinos y afroamericanos.
There is a lot of discrimination against the Latinos and African Americans.
También quisiéramos saber quiénes son los que se están, los candidatos que se están postulando,
And I'd like to know who are the candidates that are being,
porque nunca nos enseñan sus caras hasta que ya son elegidos.
because our faces are not shown until they're being elected.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, Viola May.
My name is Viola May Bledsoe. I've lived in Long Beach since I was 3.5 years old. I am 63, so you can figure that out. I have also worked for the district for almost 29 years as an instructional aide in special ed. The changes that I've seen in special ed over my time is the fact that we are not, as this parent said, getting trained like we did when I first started. When I first started, there were student-free days. Governor Wilson took those away from us, but on student-free days, we got training on how to work with the special ed students in lifting, crisis intervention, also with the medical issues that we deal with some of the severe special ed, tube feeding, taking care of tracheotomies and how to feed, how to lift, how to change, how to use the different equipment. There are so many aides that I work with now that have been hired in the last 10 years that are expected to use some of the equipment that we put the children in, such as Hoyer lifts, chariots, ponies, gait trainers. These are movement equipments for the children. They do not know how to put them in the equipment. They don't know how the child should look in the equipment, so therefore they don't know if they're doing it safety. One of the things I want to see with the new superintendent is to make sure your classified employees are trained, not just us in special ed, but some of our maintenance people. Make sure they get their Cal OSHA certificates. Quit ignoring our training. Teachers get days and days and days off with pay to go training. We get training once or twice a year. We are expected to use our own time. Sometimes some of the training is by paid, but a lot of times it isn't. So this is one of the things where we're talking about equity is between your certified employees and your classified employees. Another very big concern I have, and because I've worked in the district this long, and I have been active politically because of my parents with the school district even while I was a child, and I saw this happen when I was in junior high school, but I've seen this happen in other districts where a new superintendent comes in and basically heads roll. They come in, they figure they're the new man on campus, the new boss, and they really go out and try and change everything all at once. They move people around, they get rid of people, they get rid of programs, and they do it without a lot of talking. So one of my concerns is that we get somebody in here that doesn't look at our past history, doesn't know anything about Long Beach, doesn't know how diverse we are, what this community needs. So that's where I stand. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bledsoe. Next speaker. Yes. Sure, yeah, absolutely. So thank you to those of you who have just joined us. We are inviting speakers from the community, all of you, to come up to the podium and to share your thoughts on the qualities that you would like to see in our next superintendent. We are also listening for the strengths that you believe are present here in the district, as well as our areas for improvement. We're also taking note on issues to anticipate in the future. So I am inviting anybody else to come to the podium who would like to speak. Okay, we have 3, so let's go with you up top. Welcome. Come on down and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Karen Swinson. I am an RSP teacher at Stevens Middle School. I've been a teacher in the district for about 3 years. I also have children who are special needs. So it's very personal, and also my career. Hi. Yeah, I'm right here. I want to touch upon the equity piece that I heard from the first speaker. I agree with it immensely. Also, one of the strengths I see with Long Beach Unified is the College Promise. The College Promise is a wonderful opportunity for so many students, children, and their families, and I hope to take advantage of it someday. I also think the high school of choice, not only, and also middle schools, is a wonderful strength that we have in the district, because it's wonderful to allow families to have those choices and to allow them to, their children to go where they want them to go, as opposed to just staying at the home school. And also, I feel like, we are, with the pathways at the high school, I think that's also a strength. A lot of my students in middle school, they're excited about the different pathways, and that it drives where they want to go when they decide to make that choice in 8th grade for high school. One area that I feel that definitely needs to improve as a special education teacher is what a lot of people have already been saying, is the training for instructional aides, and also just having instructional aides, more of them. We are so understaffed in special education. We never have enough people, the support staff, and even teachers aren't trained enough. When I don't get trained, I get days for release, and that's planning days. I don't get trained, and the social emotional problems that our students are dealing with right now are things that are sometimes I feel like I have not, your credential programs do not prepare you for some of the things that you see on a daily basis in the school sites. And I really feel that the new superintendent, I want the new superintendent to really be an advocate for more mental health and social emotional health and training and just knowledge for students and staff. That's a big one for me. And just to take special education, be a real advocate for, and the all means all approach that that we have as our, as our, motto, and really to really make sure that it is something that the new superintendent is takes seriously and drives forward. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a couple more speakers. Ms. Ocampo, do you want to go ahead? And then we'll get our parent over here. So come on forward.
Good evening. My name is Lilia Ocampo, and my kids attend Oropesa. I appreciate the opportunity that you are giving to parents and community to express what the needs are. And for starters, I believe that our superintendent have to have a clear idea that many of the challenges that parents and students face happen at the school sites. And I feel, and many parents feel, that they're not addressed as they should be. For example, as somebody says bullying, it starts with little things, name calling, pushing, playing, and it should be stopped at there. It shouldn't be let escalate to the point where a student has to fight some other students, some classmates, for not to be like put a bag on his head, and even worse things. So things shouldn't let to escalate to that point, should be stopped at what I said before. So another thing is parents, when they are, sometimes they're just complainers, you know, and sometimes we don't know, or not everybody knows what the way it is to like state a problem, and then to be listened to. We can easily get frustrated if we're not listened to, and that should be taken off. So it also don't escalate to the point with parents and they're screaming or being disrespectful to the office, the people in the office, or even the staff. And also student rights. Student rights should be respected and followed with them, give it to them. Equity, especially with special education students. They have special needs, and sometimes they're not met for many reasons. Sometimes parents don't know how to ask, you know, when you have an IEP. Sometimes you just listen to what you're being told, but you don't know if what you're listening to and what you are signing to is what really is going to help your son or your daughter. And out of knowledge, out of not knowing what certain students with certain, I don't know how to say, the word escaped to my mind, but special, okay, cuando tienen una, no es discapacidad, cuando son, diagnóstico, with a diagnosis.
When they're diagnosed.
Yeah, like autism, ADHD, or different spectrum, yeah, different levels of the autism. And they're supposed to receive the help for them to be able to learn. Like sometimes there are little things, simple things that can make the difference between a kid that can graduate from college or university and a kid that will just not be able to do it because the needed they have, the accommodations they need aren't given to them. So like I said before, at school sites is where the challenges are, so our new superintendent should know that and address that in a way that our kids get the equity they deserve in education. Thank you.
Thank you. Monica, would you like to come up?
Hi everyone, I have 3 kids in Long Beach Unified School District, and I just want to say that by far Long Beach Unified School District is the best school district around, without mentioning any other districts around here. We are very fortunate that our kids are in Long Beach School District. I have 1 in middle school and 2 in elementary school, and it is by far the best. I was really impressed by the Dress for Success. I was like, wow, we need this. If we had something like that in all the other districts, we will have more numbers of students graduating. So that goes off to David, and how that got handled or how that came across. My son's not in high school yet, but I was really impressed. I also want to say that I would like to see more involvement with the foster care community and the homelessness community. I think that, kids that have parents and that are involved in the kids' education is very important, but those that are in foster care and homeless, that's where really the focus should be done. And also in special education, because I do have 2 kids with IEPs, so I've been very involved with that. And just aside from everything, I think just whoever comes into this position really has to put their paycheck behind the students, because once you have that paycheck that you're gonna get behind the students, you're gonna figure out your why, and why every staff member, teachers, and every person knows the reason why you work for a school district is to see kids succeed. The numbers, our minorities need to really graduate and just have more involvement in that area. So special education is really important. I really like how they do the workshops online. They even have them on YouTube, and really there's no excuse for no parents to be involved, because they do it online. There's just so much, but I think it can be a little bit improved, especially for the special ed, and just having workshops in Spanish or other languages that parents can know about the IEPs, because it's very important. I'm lucky that I'm bilingual, but there's a lot of parents that are not bilingual. They don't understand nothing on the IEP. So if there was more workshops or classes or anything like that, I think it would really help. And I think another thing is diverse. You see that on the boards and everything, but and I don't know how this district council said, but maybe I know when I was growing up, we always had like culture. So if everybody just got a chance to learn about everybody's culture, then perhaps it could be a little bit more understanding of each other's cultures, and just be open to learning about, other cultures and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's it. I could keep talking. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica, and your lovely assistant. I must say that I am truly appreciative of everyone who is taking the time to speak tonight. We still have a couple of more speakers who are going to come up, but we are listening to you, and again, we appreciate your voice. So, for our next speaker, please.
Lo voy a decir en español.
I'm going to say it in Spanish.
Buenas noches a todos.
Good evening to all.
Estoy muy contenta de que este proceso se esté haciendo, aunque no es el que nosotros hubiéramos querido.
I am really happy that this process is going on, although it's not the one we would have wanted.
Pero si aquí hay algún candidato que a lo mejor está aquí, no sé cuál es, qué bueno que esté aquí para que escuche lo que nuestra comunidad quiere de ustedes.
But if there's a candidate here, I'm glad you're here so that you can listen to what the needs of our community.
Primero que nada, me gustaría que los empleados, al llegar a una escuela, fueran sensibles a nuestra cultura, quien sea, asiático, latino, quien sea, que tengan esa amabilidad y esa educación para poder recibir a un padre cuando llega a la oficina.
First of all, I'd wish that all the employees in the district would have that sensitivity to our culture, to, it doesn't matter if you're Latino or African American, but that they would be able to greet you, be kind to you upon arriving to the office.
Y una cosa muy importante, mis hijos todos se han graduado del distrito escolar, con muchos dolores de cabeza, míos, yo creo que de ellos también.
And one very important thing, all my children have graduated from the Long Beach School District with a lot of headaches. A lot of them are my headaches.
Pero me gustaría que los consejeros realmente fueran unos consejeros académicos preparados y que sepan lo que le están diciendo a los estudiantes cuando tienen alguna situación. Y les tengo dos ejemplos muy grandes que me enojan todavía.
But I would really like that the counselors in the district would really be knowledgeable academic counselors to guide the children when they're selecting their paths.
El primero, mi hijo hoy tiene 37 años y cuando mi hijo estaba en tercer grado lo diagnosticaron, lo diagnosticaron para educación especial.
My son is now 37 years old, and when he was in third grade, he was diagnosed to be in special ed.
Y saben que yo estaba tan feliz porque mi hijo estaba en educación especial. Yo pensaba que eso era tan grande y tan maravilloso.
And I was really happy that he would be in special ed. I thought it was a marvelous thing.
Pero con el tiempo supe que eso realmente era estarlo en una división diferente a un niño que estaba en educación regular.
But with time, I realized that that was a division that put him away from the kids in the gen ed class.
Y todo era porque él estaba aprendiendo más despacio el idioma inglés.
And it was all because he was learning English at a slower pace.
Y como no conocía cómo funciona el sistema escolar, no importa si hablas inglés o hablas español, eso aquí no importa. Lo que importa es que yo buscaba y nunca supe encontrar lo que buscaba.
It doesn't matter if you spoke Spanish or English, but the point is that I would look, and I would never find what I was looking for.
Porque sabes que cuando yo peleo por mis hijos, no sé de dónde me sale el inglés, pero me sale.
Because when I fight for my kids, I don't know where the English comes from, but it comes out.
Esa es una. Nunca pude sacar a mi hijo de educación especial.
That's one point. I was never able to get my child out of special ed.
Gracias a Dios que yo estuve trabajando en el programa migrante y en el distrito.
Thank
Y ahí
God.
aprendí mucho aprendí para poder llevarle a los padres y decirles, esto es cómo funciona el sistema en los Estados Unidos. Esto es lo que nosotros como padres tenemos que hacer. No nomás la escuela, porque la escuela es una parte, pero nosotros la otra.
Thank God I was working with the Migrant Ed program, and they taught me a lot, and I was able to tell the parents, this is what we need to do. It's not just what the school does, but this is what we need to do for our children as well.
Así es que no le platico todo porque fueron muchos años trabajando con los padres latinos. La otra fue que después tengo 4, el primero la fue fatal, los otros 2 peleé, pero el último estudió en esta escuela, 3 estuvieron en esta escuela, pero el último que estuvo aquí, no quiero decir maldito porque se oye muy feo, pero el consejero que mi hijo tuvo fue tan malo para decirle, oh, tú no te apures por los exámenes del ACT ni el ACT, no te preocupes de nada, tú no vas a ir a la universidad.
I have 4 kids. My other 2 kids finished, but the last one, the youngest one, came here, and I don't want to say he was just a terrible counselor, but he told my son, oh, don't worry about the ACT, SAT, you're not going to go to college.
Y él no es nadie para decirle a un estudiante si va o no va a una universidad. Lo que él tiene que hacer es guiarlo para que el niño, si está necesitando alguna cosa, lo pueda guiar para que pueda llegar a su éxito.
And he's nobody to tell him or any student if he should go to college or not. He's here to guide him.
Así es que el superintendente que se vaya a quedar con esta posición, me gustaría que tomara tanta atención en saber qué calidad de consejeros están tomando para esta posición.
So for the new superintendent, I would like for him to pay close attention, and when they get the counselors, to see what kind of counselors they're bringing into the schools.
Y hay otra.
There's one more.
Estamos teniendo tantos niños llegando a este país indocumentados, con muchas situaciones psicológicas, emocionales, que no se le está poniendo atención.
And there's a lot of students that are arriving undocumented, and they're coming with so many problems, psychological, emotional problems, and they're not being paid attention to.
Y yo estoy trabajando con esos niños,
And I'm working with those students.
y ellos no tienen padres aquí,
They don't have parents here.
y han estado 9 meses en un centro de detención,
And they've been 9 months in a detention center
donde han pasado muchas cosas.
where they have been through so much.
Y luego dicen, pero ¿por qué ese niño se está portando así en el salón? ¿Por qué está así? ¿Por qué está acá? Porque no has puesto atención que ese niño también trae necesidades, aparte del idioma.
And then they ask, why is he behaving this way in the classroom? It's because you haven't paid attention to what other problems he's coming with.
Así es que, superintendente nuevo, tienes mucho que supervisar a los directores, a los programas, a los consejeros.
So to the new superintendent, you have a lot to supervise, the principals, counselors, and a lot of staff.
Y ya voy a terminar.
And that's, I'm gonna finish.
Ya tengo un nieto en la escuela.
I have a grandchild in school.
Y digo la escuela, porque pasó a mi hijo aquí en Renazón. Y cuando yo vine con ese consejero, me dijo, ¿tú de dónde sabes todo este sistema? Porque yo le hablaba del A3G, del GPA, le hablaba de todo. Y me dijo, ¿y por qué tu mamá de dónde lo aprendió? Y le dije, dile a él que no le importa de dónde lo aprendí, pero tienes que hablar con él. Y mi hijo le tuvo miedo al consejero, pero tuvo que hablar con él.
So I came to talk to the counselor, and I knew a lot, and I would mention the A3G requirements and the GPA, and he would say, well, where does she learn all that? I said, it's none of his business, just you need to talk to him. And my son was so afraid of him that he didn't talk to him.
Todavía me acuerdo de su cara,
And I still remember his face,
que me atendió tan bien.
that he treated me so well.
Pero mi hijo ya estaba traumado, ya se sentía mal, ya no quiso hacer muchas cosas grandes y se quedó.
But my son was already traumatized. He didn't want to do a lot of big things, and he just stayed.
Se graduó,
He graduated,
pero no fue algo grande como lo que él esperaba.
but he didn't do as much as he was expecting.
Escuela Washington.
From
Es-
Washington,
Escuela Washington es como la hermana de la Escuela Cabrillo,
it's like the sister school for Cabrillo,
¿ok? Porque tengo también en Cabrillo.
because I have a student in Cabrillo.
Y creo que están tomando a la ligera lo que es el bullying.
And you're taking bullying very lightly,
Lo están tomando a la ligera.
very lightly.
Lo único que hacen es correr a los niños, sacar a los niños, llamar a los padres,
All they do is take the kids out of school, call the parents,
pero creo que eso no es la solución.
but I don't think that's the solution.
Están perdiendo las clases, están dejando los periodos que pasen, no aprendieron la clase porque no estuvieron. ¿Y qué va a pasar?
They're missing classes, missing learning because they weren't in class, and what's happening?
Entonces yo creo que hay mucho que trabajar en el distrito. Sí, sí está nombrado uno de los mejores, no sé cómo estarán los demás.
I think the district has a lot to work on. If this is one of the best, I don't know how the other
Pero
ones are.
a nosotros como padres nos toca que este distrito mejore,
Pero-
que vaya arriba, que vaya adelante, pero trabajando la escuela realmente con los padres.
We need to as parents, we need to make this district better, but making the school work with the parents.
Mientras que no trabajen ustedes, los que estén, los que sean, mientras el distrito escolar, los profesores, los superintendentes, los directores, no trabajen de la mano con los padres, los que pierden son los niños. Ustedes, ni nosotros, ya nos graduamos, tenemos nuestras carreras, pero ellos no.
All the principals and all the staff, if you're not working together with the parents, it's not going to work. We've already graduated, we have our careers, but if you don't work together with the parents, it's not going to happen.
Y sí puede haber clases en internet,
And there can be classes on the internet.
pero ¿quién te dijo que todos los padres tienen computadora o tienen internet o tienen un teléfono con una tecnología que pueden verlo ahí?
But who told you that all the parents have internet or have access to any gadgets or any phones, high-tech phones?
¿Sabe lo que un padre tiene que trabajar? Y te lo digo por mí, hasta 12 horas para sacar a tus niños adelante, para no pedir welfare, para no pedir estampillas, para no pedir nada. Trabaja uno hasta 12 horas para sacar a sus hijos adelante. ¿Tú crees que yo tenía tiempo de irme a internet si en ese tiempo había? No podía.
And I'll tell you on my behalf, if there's some parents that have to work up to 12 hours to help their children succeed, so that you don't have to ask for welfare, wouldn't have to ask for help. So after working all those hours, you think I had time to go on the internet?
Pero pude sacar 4 hijos exitosos, aunque el cuarto haya sido de una manera difícil, pero todos mis hijos son graduados. Se graduó de UC Davis, es veterinario, la otra es científica, el otro está estudiando también otra carrera en college, y todos han estudiado, pero me costó. Yo sé que la parte de los padres también, pero necesitamos a ustedes como maestros, a los directores, a los superintendentes que pongan ojo. Y yo le he dicho a mi superintendente, y yo le doy el nombre y le doy la escuela. Y yo sé que él sí ha hecho cosas. Cuando yo le he dicho, esto está pasando en tal escuela, esto están haciendo con los padres, yo sé que él sí ha puesto la mano porque sí ha habido cambios. Y yo espero que sigan los cambios más adelante con el nuevo.
I have four children that have been are successful. You know, one of them went to UC Davis as a veterinarian. The other one also is taking a different career path. My youngest one graduated as well, very difficult route, but he graduated. And I'm gonna tell you that I go to the superintendent every time there's a problem and I give him names, and there has been change because I've noticed a change, and I hope that the next superintendent does the same.
Pero yo creo que, imagínate, ir como la chismosa, ay, superintendente, esto está pasando en la escuela. Ay, superintendente, esto está pasando en otra escuela. Yo creo que no es el tiempo para que uno esté en ese jueguito, ¿no? Sino que ustedes se pongan a hacer el trabajo.
But imagine if I go, oh, superintendent, this person's doing this at this site. Oh, that person's doing that at that site. We don't have time for that. I think that you should be on the lookout and looking at all around you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Again, I appreciate the passion of which you speak. And there will be staff here afterwards if anybody would like to stay and have a conversation. We have time for a couple more speakers, so come on up. Yes.
I'm short, so I'm going to have to lower this down. My name's Mariela, and I am a parent and a community education advocate. And I have the privilege and at times the frustration of being able to serve two different school sites. One happens to be at the bottom 10 of the school district rankings, and the other happens to be at the top 10. And I say it's a privilege because I know it's very difficult in these times as a parent of two kids, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, to stay active and do the job of what I think sometimes parents are trying but can't. So what I think the school district has strengths of is that it provides access to, I mean, you are all accessible. Our board member here, Juan Benitez, is here. So that, I think, is a blessing that often we don't use enough. There's a lot of programs that the district has. Again, you know, I've been in a different school sites, so I get to see a lot of programs. There's a collaboration between the Cal State Long Beach and school sites. There's, I just learned of a new program that one of the school sites has to increase attendance. My concern is that too often these programs are almost it feels that they're only to Ms. Martha Cota's discussion, it's only available to the school sites or the parents that are advocating for those schools rather than for all of them. So, for example, you know, going back to something like the counselor role, you know, I work on a school site council, and it kills me to know sometimes that you have to be knocking on the door of the superintendent, and he's been amazing, but you have to be knocking on his door just to get some change at a school site that is already and has continuously been bottom 5 year after year after year without really, in some respects, holding the staff or the principal accountable to the roles they have. And I'm a huge supporter of our staff and our teachers. Trust me, I volunteer hundreds of hours a year. So it's not a matter of me not supporting the role, but I find too often that in the bottom 10 performing schools, we have some folks that seem to feel like they get away with so much. And what things that kills me is that then some of the staff members get transferred. They just go from one school site to another school site for another parent to deal with. And unfortunately, if they don't have a parent like Marta Cotto, myself, or any of you, or any of the folks that get to participate in this work, then they get left behind, and our kids get left behind. So I just want to say that I wish that there would be some more accountability. We know what is. It's not like, you know, we have people who are amazing researchers and who know the data. So I would love to see a superintendent that's going to address the accountability of its staff. The achievement gap, I think there was some discussion earlier about that, especially for newcomers. There's, I think, the school site that I'm at currently, bottom 5, is having an increase in inflow of newcomers, those that are coming from a different country. And I think the school may not be supporting the teachers, the staff, the way they need to be supported to address these trends. So I would love to see a superintendent to also consider what are those trends, where are our schools, what's happening at our school sites, and being a bit more supportive to ensure that we're not leaving these kids behind. I also would like to say there's all, as I get to see also, there's an increase of students that are coming in with trauma, so I think mental health is very important. I'd love, in a perfect world, for us to address the whole child and not just one end of the spectrum. There's also an increase in IEPs. There's so many parents in this one particular school site who, because they don't speak the language, their kids get left behind. And ultimately, I think we do a disservice to our entire ecosystem if we leave them behind. And I would love to be able to have a superintendent who's going to build more partnerships to address what I think are going to be difficult decisions in the coming years, which is we have a decrease in enrollment in our district. I believe I heard Superintendent Chris Steinhauser talk about we've lost about 10% of our students over the last decade, and that accounts to about 20-something billion. Mr. Benitez could probably verify that. That's a lot of money our district's losing, so there's some really tough decisions ahead, and I think the only way we're gonna be able to make some move or some progress is by building more partnerships and making sure that our parents, we're meeting them where they are so that they start to also be part of the partnership in educating our kids. And yes, innovation. We're in a different world. Our kids will be in a different world by the time they graduate, and how the superintendent deals with innovation and technology. I'm personally not a big fan of my kid being on a Chromebook every day, but that's just me. And I get that that's not the case for everyone, and I understand, but I would love to be able to, how is the superintendent addressing that balance between technology, incorporating it into a classroom, how it gets sent home, how ensuring that everybody has access to it. And I could go on, but I just want to say I do appreciate that the school district continues to have these open forums and has the, the transparency to have a conversation. So thank you.
Thank you, Mariela. Okay, we have our principal, Michael Navia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Navia. I'm principal here at Renaissance. I have worked in this district for about 27 years now, and this is my 20th year as principal. I also have two children. They're both at Long Beach State. My daughter is about to graduate this May, and she wants to be a teacher, and I'd be honored for her to be here. Just want to say a couple things. First of all, I've worked at 5 different schools as an administrator, and I'll tell you that even though a couple of the schools were struggling, the support that we got from the district was incredibly powerful and really met the needs of that school. When I was at other schools that were higher performing schools, it was much different. I would constantly ask the superintendent for, whatever it was, and it was very, very different. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands, from at least my experience, I know that equity is a constant subject that we speak about in our principal meetings, and it's something that we always are striving to meet for our children. It's one of our major goals in every aspect of what we do. Secondly, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you for coming. I know that it's a busy day. All of you are doing all kinds of things yes, thank you. And you're advocates for your children. Just sitting back and listening. We're not a perfect district, but I will tell you that you look at any district really around, and they've got these same issues. I will say that. But I'll tell you this, when we go out to professional development, we work with other districts, and when I'm in meetings with whether it's other superintendents or other principals, I want you to make sure you guys know, Long Beach is so incredibly highly regarded. They ask me all the time, how are you doing this? How are you meeting the needs of this? Or here you have this special program, how are you doing it? It's the College Promise, which really not very many other school districts have. People want to know what we're doing in Long Beach. We call it the Long Beach way. How is that happening? So we're in good hands. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. Thank you for sharing your concerns, your issues, and I will tell you, we meet at least once a month as principals. We have walkthroughs where our superintendents and our supervisors come through our classrooms. We actually just had one this morning, and we're working on it. I promise you that. We are working on it, we're listening. One thing that I know that is the strength of our superintendent, Mr. Steinhauser, is he truly does listen. And he listens to me, I know that. Sometimes he'll say, absolutely not, Michael, that's not gonna happen. But he will have that ear, and we'll talk about, hey, this is a project that I think will work, and he'll think about it. One thing that I know that we will continue to do, because it's very valued in our district, is to listen to our students, to our parents, to our classified and certificated staff. I know sometimes, and I was just talking to Hannah about it, sometimes when we talk and it's things, it's, no, that's not gonna work. Or, yes, thank you for that feedback, but it has to be this way. I'll tell you, being in the meetings, being involved in, it's give me your feedback, give me your feedback, give me your feedback. Okay, let's figure it out. So again, thank you. Being here tonight is an honor for me to hear what we need to work on in district, how do we address our issues for your children. But I just want to make sure that all of you know that we're working hard. I promise you, everyone, whether it's this school or any school I've been at, schools that I know that our students have come from the middle schools. When I was in elementary school, where they go on to in high schools. You have incredibly dedicated people, and not only the people that work there, but the parents that assist. We're working on it. We're working on it, I promise you, and I'm very confident that our board and our community will pick a next amazing superintendent like Mr. Steinhauser. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Navia, for expressing those words, and we are truly grateful for you, and I know that our school community here at Renaissance is very lucky to have you, so thank you. We do have time for another speaker before we close. Anyone else? One more.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Arlinda.
Good afternoon, my name is Arlinda.
Yo de recién cuando metí a mis niños a la escuela,
When I enrolled my students at school,
no lo tengo escrito, yo no conocía a los superintendentes ni nada de la escuela. Para mí todo era nuevo.
everything was new to me. I didn't know anything about superintendents or anything else.
Mis hijos necesitaban ayuda para aprender el inglés.
My children needed help to learn English.
No estaba involucrada en las clases de ILA ni en las que hay.
I wasn't involved in ELAC or anything else available.
Una cosa que ha afectado a las escuelas aquí de Long Beach fue que bajó el presupuesto para las escuelas, algo así.
One thing that's affected the schools in Long Beach is that the budget has decreased.
El presupuesto, que es el presupuesto escolar. Entonces de ahí no había mucha ayuda para las escuelas, como estudiantes de la universidad iban y ayudaban a los niños en lo que era kinder y primero, que es cuando ellos necesitan más ayuda en la lectura.
So there was less help in the schools because of the decrease in budget, like the university students wouldn't go and help the students with the reading and the math.
Tengo 4, 2 de mis hijos más grandes no necesitaban ayuda con la lectura, pero ahora los 2 más chicos sí.
I have four children. 2 didn't need help, but the 2 younger ones do need help.
La ayuda en la escuela no fue suficiente y tuvimos que buscar tutoría por afuera de la escuela.
So the help at school wasn't enough for the students, so I had to look for outside help.
Yo como papá de segundo idioma, es una gran frustración para los papás de no poder ayudar a sus hijos, no corregirlos si lo están pronunciando bien o no.
So as a parent of ELL students, it's a lot of frustration not knowing if I'm correcting them or being able to correct them.
Entonces yo también me gustaría que hubiera ayuda para los estudiantes que están aprendiendo inglés. Y otra cosa que ahora que están haciendo las elecciones, yo vi en los que nomás llega la información para los ciudadanos americanos, solamente para los que pueden votar. ¿Y qué pasa con los papás que no pueden votar, no son ciudadanos? No se está escuchando su voz de ellos. Y es importante porque ellos son los que están llevando a los niños a la escuela. Yo ahorita dos de mis hijos ya están votando. Perdón, ¿quieres decirlo?
Sí. So I think there should be more help for ELL students. And also another thing is right now with the whole selection process, I see that a lot of information is being sent to the U.S. citizens, those that are able to vote. But what about the parents that aren't able to vote?
A mí me tocó conocer a los que trabajan en el board. Solamente cuando tuvimos un problema ahí en la escuela y no se solucionaban, tuvimos que ir al board. Fue cuando los conocí y me empecé a involucrar más.
I met the members of the board when I had a problem at the school, and I went up to a board meeting, and that's when I got more involved.
Y también los conocí ahora que se han graduado mis hijos de la preparatoria.
And I met them when my kids graduated from high school.
Pero verdaderamente me gustaría verlos también en la primaria, en la secundaria.
But I would also like to see them present at the elementary level and middle school level.
Y creo que también ayudaría para que la escuela, los directores también, ellos, no sé, los empujen un poquito más a que no están solos, tienen el apoyo del superintendente y los que están en el board.
And I think that would also help, like the principals feel that they're more supported by the board members and by the superintendent.
Y creo que lo del bullying también se tiene que hacer algo grande y también tiene que dársele preparación a los directores, a todos los que trabajan ahí, todos los que trabajan con niños.
And I also feel there needs to be something big has to happen with the bullying and also more preparation for the principals and all the staff.
Y si se prepara desde los niños, desde que están chicos, van a saber llevarlo en toda su vida.
Because if you teach kids when they're small, they're going to take that with them the rest of their lives.
Y gracias y mucho gusto.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much again. It is my job to make sure that we end on time at 8 o'clock. We went all the way through, and I think that's pretty amazing. So I'm going to give you another round of applause. Yes, good job. So I'm going to ask Dr. Benitez to come and give some closing thoughts. So thank you.
I want to thank Ms. Ashley and all of the district staff for making sure that we took all your comments into account and that we use this as a learning opportunity for our district. Ms. Ashley is the one that's heading our process, so it's very important for folks to be reminded that we're listening very intently and that to us the listening part is as important as the acting on what we're listening part. And so a few of the things that I heard here tonight, and I want to thank everyone again for making the time. I know we all have households and families and things that we got to do on a Tuesday night, election night, Super Tuesday, if you will. So I want to just share a few of the themes that I heard reiterated. I heard the word equity from almost everyone that spoke tonight. So what I'm gathering for that is we need someone that leads with equity, right? That equity is what that person leads with. I also heard a lot around the needs of social and emotional and trauma-informed care and support and programming, right? I heard that we need a superintendent that's engaged and accessible. Our student said that one of the things that stood out to her was that how easily she could talk to the superintendent and be engaged and not be dismissed. It was brought up earlier why we only have one student on the advisory committee, but I think, Those are the kinds of things that we need to hear. Right? What's missing? As Principal Navia said, it's not a perfect district, but one thing I can assure you, especially on the transparency and commitment to equity piece, is that you have staff here tonight, right? We're here to listen and be responsive and be proactive when we can be. In my experience in the last 19 months that I've been serving on the board, I can't think of one instance where something has come to me, whether it's a compliment, but mostly it's concerns when it comes to me and to my fellow board members at the board meetings, where we don't immediately see staff take action after that. So I think that's sometimes a very difficult thing, me as a parent, to think, okay, I'm gonna go to that person to express a concern. Yes, that's exactly what you have to do, right? And the burden shouldn't necessarily be on you, but unfortunately our system, our educational system is not perfect, and so we do need to be receiving emails. Not everything goes perfectly at a school site. So, Marta talked about the importance of making school-based decisions. Right, Lilia also talked about the importance of having a superintendent that holds school site staff accountable. Well, one of the ways that we can assure that all of us are being held accountable, all of us from the board down to our instructional aides, not in hierarchical order, but just in sequential order, is we need to hear from you. All right, so let me just share a reflection on that. And I know there are many reasons why this auditorium is not full tonight, but it's hard for one person to make decisions over 72,000. If we do not have packed rooms, we need to be more accessible, we need to be more creative and innovative. We know it's difficult to come out to a school board meeting, but for those community members that are able to come out to a school board meeting, there hasn't been one comment, one public comment in 19 months that I've been there, and I know it predates me on the board, that we haven't had follow-up with staff immediately after that. So I want to keep encouraging our community members, particularly the ones that are frustrated, particularly the ones that are working 12 hours and 14 hours and have 2 kids at 2 different school sites, that one of the ways that you can hold us accountable is to bring it to our attention. Sometimes it's not appropriate to go straight to Miss Ashley, but if nothing else is working, then we need to go to Miss Ashley or Mr. Zaid or Miss Secchi or myself or any one of us or Steve over here. So for those folks that were not here tonight, this is my ask of you. There are 2 more forums left. Ms. Ashley shared that up to this Friday, you can still provide input on the thought exchange. There are many reasons why folks can't be here tonight. And I'm not blaming folks that are not here. I'm praising you that are here. But I think we have a responsibility to go out and let everyone else what an important decision we have. 5 people that you elected will make that decision based on your recommendations. Right? 5 people have more impact, if we want to talk on election night, over the daily lives of our community than many other elected officials. And I think we undervalue that the only thing that's compulsory in this country is our educational process. The only thing that you have to participate in this country is you got to go to school here if you're here and of a certain age. So it behooves us to cajole, encourage, incentivize folks to talk to us, right? If it's virtually, it's virtually. Check out the YouTube video. Put your thoughts on Thought Exchange. We can all participate in that because ultimately then we'll be responsible for taking your recommendations and your input into account when we make a decision. So keep doing what you're doing. I applaud all of you that are here tonight, but I am also challenging you to keep holding us accountable so that we can address all the issues and concerns that were brought up here tonight, but that we can also continue building on our successes and continue building on the strong stability that our current superintendent has provided us. So thank you, good night, and we look forward to hearing more from you.